Yo, 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 we're back at you. It's Coach and
Daniel.
hopefully he does a better job on this video. I'm just joking, man. That's my boy. We're in Mr. Kuiper's room right now trying to make sure you guys get chapter 23. So look, let's get into the second part of this chapter, man. I'm going to ask Daniel some questions and it's going to be hilarious, I hope. Hey, Daniel, what's your Twitter?
JB156.
Okay, what's your Facebook?
Daniel69.
Or your Instagram?
Daniel69.
That's kind of gross. Your Google Plus?
69 Lover.
For real? That's disgusting. Anyway, the whole deal is this. Daniel is probably thinking that he lives in the most technologically advanced and the most mass media advanced society that ever existed. And I would answer, yeah, you're absolutely right, Daniel. But a lot of the things that we take for granted today, like this guy right here, our telephone systems, the fact that I'm using an iPad to communicate, all these things, we're started very slowly though, started in the 1920s, okay? And so we're going to have this thing called the new mass media or the new mass culture. And before the 1920s, you could hide certain things, if that makes any sense. You could hide an event in a different a part of the country by just not reporting on it, right? But now you have a new mass media system. Mass medium system number one, the movie. The movie. And think about how many of us have our thoughts and our ideas based on what we watch in a film. Like, we watch a movie and we think this is what happens, right? So, being a young black guy, right, yeah. When I went to college in 1999, I had people ask me, like, were we always on Crenshaw and Slauson with lowriders and things like that? And I asked them, why did they ask me that stupid stuff? And they said, oh, because that's what they did in Boys in the Hood. Well, literally, and I'm not trying to be facetious, I went to a school that had a 2.7 African-American population, right? So 2.7% of the population is African-American. So there are literally almost no black kids on campus. And in that town, there are almost no black people, right?
Yeah.
So you watch this movie and you're thinking everybody's Ice Cube, right? So that's what happens. So the way America is created and the symbolisms and all the things that we have, a lot of them come from the 1920s. And the 1920s and 1930s are what we call the golden age of Hollywood movie making. And this is where all the big Hollywood companies actually first start. Now, what is the first big type of movie?
Black and white.
I love him. I set him up. I set him up and I smack him down. Well, the better question would be, genres, right? Yeah. So you know how like you have genres in music, hip hop, whatever. What do you think is the first genre in the 1920s for movies?
Romance.
Romance, that's a good one. I like that. The one that's the biggest is the Western. And you're absolutely right. Because it's not romance like you're making out or anything like that. You know what it is.
Yeah.
It's romance because you make the West look romantic, huh?
Yeah.
So Cowboys and Indians start from these 1920s films. So the way we think of the West, this old West thing, why are they calling it the old West? Because it's already 1920. And the West we explored in the 1840s and 1850s, 1860s. So it's already old. And very few Easterners had gone west and come back. So you get to watch the movie, and it shows this Indian guy being chased by this really good white guy with a white hat, and then the bad guy has a black hat. This is all back and forth, right? So the Western changes the way we look at Americans, right? So let's talk about some of the big companies that come out. For example, Paramount and MGM Studios, right? Fox at that time? Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, William Fox comes out at that time. And obviously, Fox is not owned by William Fox's family anymore. It's owned by that Australian dude, Rupert Murdoch. Boo. But anyway, yes, Fox comes out in the 20s. Paramount in the 20s. MGM in the 20s. So this is the big nascence or the birth of our movie industry, all right? So let's make sure we know that. So we did movies. Now the radio. Hey, Daniel, you ever notice... like in the old film clips, or if you look at a picture of people back in the day, they were watching the radio.
Yeah.
Weird. And I don't think they were watching the radio. I think it was just the fact that they were gathered. Mm-hmm. And I think that's weird for me because, like, nowadays we don't gather for anything, right? When was the last time you sat down and had dinner with your whole family?
What's dinner?
You're stupid. Says, what's dinner? And I agree, man, like, even as a kid, man, and I love my family, we're very close, but we never sat down and had to have dinner at 6 o'clock and do everything together, right? So the radio is very interesting because not only does it disseminate information, but it says, all right, everybody, let's gather around and let's listen to this story. In fact, our big TV companies, NBC and CBS, guess when they start?
1920s.
1920s radio. Yeah. And so, very interesting. So, actually, when FDR in 1932, when he started, 33, when he started his fireside speeches and all those kind of things, they were all coming from the radio, number one, and they were coming from NBC. You could see the speaker right in front of his face. All right? Also, these big stations not only are going to disseminate information, create a situation where people like to be in a place together and create a time frame where they can sit down and be around each other. These radio stations are also going to create big business. They're going to create something to invest in. Remember we talked about like the railroads and all that was something to invest in the 1860s? Now these newspapers, these TV companies, I'm sorry, not these film companies and these radio companies are something to invest in. And some of the richest companies on the planet right now are telecommunications companies and companies like your Twitter, your Facebook, and everything else, right? So it's very important, all right? So, and then another thing too, advertising. Advertising. You ever had a McRib?
Yeah.
Why'd you have that nasty foolishness?
It looked good.
It looked good? Where did it look good?
On TV.
Boom. So I would never have a McRib unless like it's being advertised to me. You're like, ooh, looks nice. Well, of course you can't see the radio, but the way they're going to tell you about it, they're going to let you know things that you've never seen before. You're going to want to go buy it. And guess what? Remember our first video we talked about Americans start buying stuff, right? And the reason we buy things is because we want things. And the only reason we want things, somebody told us we did. So it creates this advertising situation for us, all right? So let's make sure we have that set. And then let's talk about another advertising thing that they do. Do you have a vacuum cleaner?
Nope.
No? Are you the vacuum cleaner? Your hand in the broom?
We used to have a vacuum cleaner.
Okay. So vacuum cleaners, washer and dryer, those kind of things. Even if you don't have a washer and dryer, you're going to take it to the laundromat, right? Yeah. You're not old school hand washing, are you? Nah. Look at my hands. I hand wash once in a while. Are they soft? He doesn't do any work. He has soft boy hands. Anyway, well, guess what? If right now, if you don't have an Instagram or you don't have the latest phone, you're backwards. Not only are you poor, probably, sad, but you're back. Oh, my God, you don't have an iPad? Oh, my goodness. Okay, if you're not doing this, you're not doing that. What does that mean? We're advertising modernity. We're advertising newness, right? And that's what happens in the 1920s. The 1920s advertisement will say, hey, you know what? Come in, and everything will be easy for you. So on page 814, there's a picture of a vacuum cleaner, and on the top it says, twice the cleaning, twice the leisure. Americans want to relax. And Americans believe that the new modern world and the new mass media says you can relax, you can kick, you can chill. And you see that all the time. The new Swiffer. Have you seen the Swiffer commercial where the lady comes in there and she has like a towel or some old school stupid way to do it, and then she takes out her Swiffer, goes ching, and everything works perfectly? It's the same thing. But the 1920s are the birth of that process, all right? So when they talk about advertising modernity, that's what they're talking about. They're trying to make whatever is new look better than it even is. And then we all listen to music. I hope you do. So before there was Pandora, there was the phonograph. And so you can actually listen to music in your house without somebody playing a piano for you. You can actually put a record on wax. I know you haven't seen a wax record because you're terrible, but you're young. But yeah, that's what they did. And so super duper important. Now, last thing for this part of the video, let's talk about sports and celebrity. Who's your favorite athlete? I haven't seen that person's baseball card. Who's your favorite athlete? Hurry up.
Derrick Rose.
His favorite athlete is Derrick Rose, okay? So the point guard for the Bulls, and he was out at Memphis. Okay, fantastic. Why do you like him so much? What's his deal?
Well, he's a hard worker. He's very dedicated to what he does.
How do you know that?
Well, he got his injury on his ankle, so he got surgery. He was out for like a year. He came back, and now he's becoming a better player.
Yep, got hurt again. He's coming back. Keep consistent, right?
Yeah.
Also, because of this, I'm going to go to ESPN right now. Come on, ESPN. So I'm on ESPN on my phone. You probably can't see it. Shoot, the Mets beat the Yankees 7-2. The Cricket World Cup is on. The Bulls actually beat the Raptors, right? All this stuff is there. And so what happens is all of this begins in the 1920s. The fact that you really think that these athletes are celebrities. These athletes are cool. They're interesting, and they advertise things. Right? LeBron James tells you drink Sprite. You know he don't drink Sprite. That dude has 6% body fat. He's not drinking any damn soda, baby. All right? That's the truth, and that's it. But you buy it because of him. He becomes a celebrity, right? The first true celebrity in this time was Babe Ruth. Hey, you know what Babe Ruth said when the reporter asked him how he felt about making more money than the president? You know what he said?
No.
He said, I had a better year than Hoover did. Think about that. Think about having a situation where this man in the 1920s is making more money than the president. And that person is a celebrity. He's a star. He's somebody that you want to be like, all right? So that's it for the sports section. Make sure that the biggest sport that at that time, is baseball. And the attendance exploded, man. You have 10 million people watching baseball games in 1929. 10 million people, that means 1/4 of all of California right now. That means 2.5 Connecticut's, because Connecticut only has 4 million people in it. That's a big deal in 1 year going to watch games. And there are teams that already existed. Teams like the Cubs already existed. Teams like the Yankees, the Athletics, not the Oakland Athletics, but the old school Philadelphia Athletics already existed. And then football also starts in the 1920s. The NFL becomes a company by the end of the 1920s, and its most famous star is a Native American called Red Grange. All right, thank you.